Hello everyone, my name is Anatan and I would like to present our work on survey of migration routes and wintering sites of Egyptian vulture breeding in Central Asia. I would like to present you shortly our team. I am Valentin Soldatov, are local researchers from Uzbekistan. I am from Institute of Zoology. Dr. Robert John Burnside is from University of East Anglia from UK. And Dr. Vladimir Dobrov is from Bulgarian Society for the Protection of Birds from Bulgaria. Egyptian vulture is globally endangered species which number declines throughout its range. It is widely distributed from the southern Europe and North Africa to India. In recent years, due to the declines, Egyptian vulture has been subject to intensive research and conservation work in Europe and the Balkans. This work has established that migration is the most dangerous period for Egyptian vultures because of increased mortality. The survival varies between populations. Different populations throughout the range encounter different threats in both the wintering and the breeding grounds and along the flyway. In contrast to the well-studied population in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, almost nothing is known for the Asian migratory population of the species. Very little systematic work has been done on Egyptian vulture in Central Asia, but there is an estimated to be less than 2,000 breeding pairs. Uzbekistan is positioned at the core of the Central Asian migratory corridor and is a potentially important country for many migrants using this flyway. This gap in fundamental ecological knowledge for the species is a limitation for conservation in Central Asia. In Uzbekistan, Egyptian vulture is declining, with an estimated population of 135 breeding pairs. The species is nationally classified as vulnerable and included in last edition of Uzbekistan Red Data Book. There is a little data available on the status of breeding Egyptian vultures in Uzbekistan, while there is currently no data on migration routes or wintering sites used, and thus the types and number of threats present in Uzbekistan and the wintering grounds remain unidentified. The lack of detailed biological knowledge of the species is severely limiting the development of an evidence-based action plan for their future conservation management in Central Asia. One of the most effective methods to receive qualitative data on migration is satellite tracking. The idea of tagging Egyptian vultures was hatched a long time ago by our team. We identified a need to understand the movements and migration of birds from Uzbekistan to better plan for its future in Asia. We already have background by participating in Bird Fair Project 2011 in frame of UZSPB program and conducting Central Asian Desert Initiative Fellowship or CADI in 2018. During CADI work, we received detailed information on nests of Egyptian vultures in Kızılkum Desert, and last year, in 2021, we used this information. We focused our study efforts on the Egyptian vultures breeding in the Kızılkum Desert. It is a semi-arid region of central part of Uzbekistan. The area is a mix of shifting sand, stony desert, and compacted sandy desert, low hills, and huge depressions with the breaks on its edge. You can see here some of the breeding sites of Egyptian vultures. As vultures nest on cliffs, often with the overhanging sections, the nest can be difficult and dangerous to access. To confirm the accessibility of the nest and the timing of work, we carried out a short survey at the end of May 2021 of known nesting sites. We checked 10 vulture nests in the Kızılkum. 3 suitable nests with the recently hatched chicks were located. On this picture, you can see how rich is diet of Egyptian vulture's chicks. You can see here the carcass of desert monitor, the steppe turtles, and others. Since the optimal age of young Egyptian vultures for tagging is 65 days, we could plan our tagging dates on end of July. We selected the transmitter type Ornithrac 30 GSM satellite tags. These are solar-powered and record a large amount of GPS fixes, which are then sent to us over the mobile network. The tags should transmit for several years. We hope that they will work many years. Transmitters were attached to the birds using a leg loop configuration with Teflon ribbon. All GPS data for the project is uploaded and archived to MoveBank. Tagging was carried out under permission from the Uzbekistan State Committee for the Ecology and Environmental Protection with support of the Institute of Zoology and approval from the University of East Anglia Animal Welfare and Ethical Review Board. According to the plan, we tag Egyptian vulture between 27 July till 4th of August 2021. We tag 4 juvenile Egyptian vultures and called them Aris, Ani, Timur, and Bukhara. Chicks were hooded and biometric measurements and bloods taken. All chicks were ringed with a metal ring. Here on this map, you can see the summary of their migration. Migration data was received from 3 of them, from Timur, Aris, and Ani. All 3 birds started migrating between the 5th and 15th September from Uzbekistan. All migrated for 7 or 8 days over a distance of 1,500 to 2,300 kilometers and finished migrating in 3 different countries in India, Pakistan, and Iran. This video shows the migration routes in detail. At Final, Aris and Anya, blue and gray dots, migrated to India, where they are now wintering. Timur took a very different strategy from the other two, flying over 6,200 kilometers to arrive in Yemen on November 2021. Timur made a very direct, clear migration through south over the course of 7 days, where often he hit the Iranian coast. He then started to wander east in Pakistan and then returning west following the Persian Gulf coast. However, he continued west and finally flew far enough so he could bypass the water, and he continued southwest through Iraq, Kuwait, and into Saudi Arabia over the course of several weeks. This area is now an important passage and wintering area for Egyptian vultures migrating from Europe and Balkans. These results have shown for the first time that Egyptian vulture populations between Europe, Central Asia, and Oriental Asia are connected through their wintering grounds and will share similar threats during their migration and wintering. If we will follow Aris' track, we will find that birds regularly stopped on dumps. Aris kept 3 weeks on dump near Termes in Uzbekistan. After arriving to India, he kept 3 or 4 weeks on Carcass dump near town Bikaner in India. Indian experienced 90% of population decline of Egyptian vulture during 19th and 0th years of poisoning by veterinary drugs. If we will follow Timur's track, he also stopped on dump sites in Saudi Arabia and Yemen. These dumps are popular stopover places for Egyptian vultures from Balkan and Turkish populations. The first results of our research have shown the high importance of dumps as stopover or wintering places for Egyptian vultures from Central Asia. In future, we are planning to conduct estimation of population by survey on dump sites. We propose that dump survey could be effective to estimate the population of breeding Egyptian vultures in Uzbekistan. For example, in August 2021, we counted about 120 birds on one dump near Samarkand. Among them, 85 adults, and it is 32% of estimated population of Egyptian vultures in Uzbekistan. This data shows the lack of information on Uzbekistan population. In future, we are planning to continue the tagging of Egyptian vultures in Central Asia. For us is also important the network development, network between Central Asian countries and wider between India, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and other countries important for Egyptian vultures which breed in our region. The field work was made possible with the financial support of OSME and the Oriental Bird Club. We would like to thank the Dr. Campbell Morn and Hannah Shaw and the Howe Conservancy Trust for supplying GSM tag to the study and supporting the work. In the country, permission for tagging vultures was granted by the Institute of Zoology and State Committee for Ecology and Environmental Protection with the assistance of Uzbekistan Society for the Protection of Birds. Also, we want to thank Dr. Roman Kashkarov, Dr. Yelena Bykova, Maria Gritsina, and Timur Abduropov for the information about records of Egyptian vultures and nests in Kızılkum in 2021. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Anna. That was a fantastic presentation on a fantastic project on a fantastic species. So thank you very much for that. I'm really pleased that your birds decided to be very sort of politically correct, and a couple went to the Oriental Bird Club's region, and a couple went to the OSME region, who were co-funders of the project. So that was quite good of the birds to do that for us. So thank you very much. A really fantastic presentation about the migration of the of Egyptian vulture. We've got one comment stroke question in the chat box from Elaine Cowan, who makes the observation that it's interesting that the Straits of Hormuz was such a major barrier. I don't know if you can see that that comment. If you is there anything you want to kind of say about that?
One of our colleagues, Vladimir Dobrev, is also very well known of this region, and Egyptian vultures which flying close to Hormuz barrier. But and we it was very interesting to watch every day. We checked the flight of Timur, and yeah, it was very interesting because many other Egyptian vultures do the same, but we actually expect that he will go to the east to India, but maybe it was some connection with the local migrating Egyptian vultures, which use another flyway, and that is why he moved to the west, and now he is in Yemen right now. So yeah, we didn't expect that it will be. We expect that they will move to Pakistan and to India. It was very logical, but right now we can see that we need more birds with tags to clear this picture.
Yeah, so I kind of expected most of the birds to go to sort of Pakistan and India. Some similarities with the work that that I've been involved in on sociable lapwings, where we've got sort of two migration routes with birds going down into Pakistan and India, and other birds going down into the Middle East. A couple of additional sort of questions. There's a question from Elham Noorani. Are there differences between juvenile and adult migration timings and perhaps routes? I know that's probably a question you can't specifically answer based on your project, but I wondered if you have any thoughts on that.
One of our colleagues, also Vladi, he is right now here. They have 10 years observations in Bulgaria with their huge project of conservation of Egyptian vultures. And right now they have information that juveniles vultures fly with the adults together. That is why it's very important to have a healthy population with strong families which make first flight together. Yeah, so yeah, and there is a lot of threats with the juveniles which fly alone, and because they have higher mortality.
Great, thanks.
But we have a lot of questions on our Central Asian Egyptian vultures, and I hope that this is just the beginning, and we could answer more and about the social structure, about the migration routes, and about the threats. The interesting point is that many people help us right now, and we have partner Dow, Dr. Dow in Bikaner. He tried to find arrays in hundreds of Egyptian vultures on that dam, and of course it was impossible because too many birds. And but anyway, this is for us. It's this is why we are doing so many media work to share a lot of information and join people from different countries which could interested in this project and help us and do that. We can do something, organize something to do together. So please, if I have contacts and you can write us and feel free if you have ideas. We are open.
Thanks, Anna. And I think, as you say, this is hopefully the start of a sort of a longer term project on Egyptian vultures in Central Asia, because as you say in your presentation of the different populations, this is probably the population we know least about. So it's a great start, but hopefully we'll be able to support more of your work in the future, and hopefully other people will support more of your work in the future. So it's been a really great to see this sort of project get off the ground. A couple of other questions. We've got time. Question from Mike Reed. Oops, it's just gone up. What happened to the fourth bird? Did it die, or was it a tag failure?
We tagged 2 chicks in one nest. So it was Timur brother, Bukhara, and we think that this is some technical problems with the tag. And yeah, it happens sometimes, but we checked in autumn, we checked that nest and we didn't find any, so it was a healthy place and we didn't find any carcass. So we think that it's migrate together with the Timur, we hope this, but tag is not working. So we do all our best to be sure that everything is okay with the Bukhara. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you, Mike, for the question. And also thank you to Elham Noorani earlier on for your other question, and for Elaine Cowan as well. Can't see. Oh, yes, there's one more question just come in from Abdul Hakim Abdi. Great work, thank you for the presentation. The bird that remained in Yemen, did it eventually make the crossing into Africa, or is it still in Yemen?
Timur is stay in Yemen, and Aris and Anya are in India. Everything is okay. So we are checking every few days their data, and yeah, worrying when they are sitting on the electricity poles. And yeah, it happens.
Yeah. The birds seem much more sort of stable now. They're not ranging in big areas. They're more confined to smaller areas. Is that right?
Different situation. Anya keeps on one place, and Aris is flying in different towns in New Delhi, in Arba, and we have already a very funny paper about the golden Indian triangle, which birds already visited. So yeah, and Timur, he stopped his migration in November, so he crossed more than 6,000 kilometers. So it's amazing distance.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
A question just come in from Jeff and Hilary Welsh. Very good question. As the species regularly uses rubbish dumps, could extra birds be wing tagged, which would reduce costs? Because obviously satellite tags and GPS tags are very expensive.
Jeff, thank you for your questions. Very happy to see you here. And we are planning to do this next year. We are preparing the applications and hope that we will have support to do catching birds in dumps, but the wing target, it's we are thinking about this, and we have discussion with the person from Pakistan, and we hope that this idea is on the discussion. We are thinking about this also.
Okay, thanks. And a point just come in from Vladimir Dobrev saying that wing tags are not usually a good idea for Egyptian vultures. So I'm sure that'll be part of your discussions. We'll take one more question and then we'll move on. Oops, I'll take two questions. So a question from Leila Scrielli. My apologies, I'm sure I've pronounced your last name wrong. How come that the population from the Balkans share the winter grounds in Yemen where Timur went instead of migrating further east to India or Pakistan? Who would have a go at trying to answer that question, Anna?
I think that Vladi could answer this more detailed because he worked a lot with the birds there. But I know that Bulgarian and from Turkish population, Egyptian vultures stop there on wintering very often.
A technical question then for Nick Moran. Nick, are we able to unmute Vlad if he would like to have a go at answering that question?
Yeah, we should be able to.
Sorry, Vlad, to put you on the spot. Are you willing to answer that question about the Balkans population?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the noise. I'm just on the road, but thanks everybody for the questions and for the interest. So it's just I wanted to add something about the wing tags because an important question was raised. So in general, we avoid using wing tags for the Egyptian vultures because they could actually compromise their flight. Unlike the other big vultures, Egyptians are more prompt to fly actively, and they're just behavior in during flight and also on the stopover side is totally different. So we have never used wing tags before, neither in the Balkans nor along the flyway. There were some Egyptians wing tagged in Israel and few other places, but it's not a common accepted strategy. So we avoid using them, and we don't have plans using wing tags. Also, I wanted to address the question regarding Timur because he is in Yemen, and it is his first winter, and we have a similar case with a vulture with Egyptian vulture coming from Bulgaria. It had the same behavior. It stopped over at the same place where Timur is now, and our bird from the Balkans was called Svetlina. She stayed there for like 4 months until February, when she left this place in Yemen where Timur is now, and then headed to Africa. So we kind of expect that Timur could do the same in the following months. So we are just about to understand that. And regarding the last question, let me just see it in the chat box. So how come that the population from the Balkans share the wintering grounds in Yemen where Timur went, instead of migrating further east to India or Pakistan? So it's obviously some of the migration routes are shared between different populations, which is the case with the population coming from the Balkans and Anatolia, the Caucasus, and some birds coming from Central Asia. So this was a great question, actually raised. It has been raised before in different discussions. Also, there was some information published in Vulture News few times, where different questions about the origin of birds that were spotted in Yemen and in the east of Africa actually argued about the origin of these birds, if they were the Indian subspecies. And this raised also a question if birds from the east actually share migration routes and wintering grounds with birds coming from the west, and particularly Europe, Anatolia, the Caucasus. So it's obviously the overlap between this population is the Arabian Peninsula, and most probably some portion of the birds breeding in Central Asia go and spend the winter in the Arabian Peninsula and also in Africa. Also, we believe that most of these birds could probably stay also in Yemen and Oman and other places, also in Saudi Arabia. So this is something we will hopefully understand very soon, which of course is very important because it will address different threats in this huge region, and also on the Central Asian migratory flyway we're working now.
That's great, Vlad. Thanks for all those additional points. Really useful. And we've still clearly got a lot to learn about the Central Asian population and how it relates to some of the other Egyptian vulture populations elsewhere. So that's fantastic. I'm just conscious of time. We've run over slightly, but that's fine. Anna, thank you very much for that presentation. Thank you very much to you and all of your colleagues for a fantastic project. And thank you to your sort of co-funders and co-supporters. OSME, we're really pleased that we were able to collaborate and jointly fund this project to make it reality. We hope we can help you in the future. So thanks very much, Anna. Thanks to all of your colleagues.